Hey there you guys, I put together a little bit of a very dramatic kind of prom Debs makeup look for you guys. I decided to go a little bit more dramatic than I usually do just because I've done a ton of tutorials before on more neutral looks and kind of bronze looks, and I decided to go for something very dark and very smoky this time around. So if you'd like to achieve this look, stick around and I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Hey everyone, so I have my hair clipped back and I have all my products sort of sitting next to me, and this is really not planned at all. I've just picked out a few eyeshadows and bits and bobs that are sort of my go-to, and some things that I haven't tried before. Like the eye makeup, I usually just make up on the spot. So we're just going to have a little bit of an experimentation, a little bit of a chat along tutorial. Because I have dry skin, I'm going to moisturize as kind of a prep step for my foundation, and I'm going to be using Dr. Jart's Premium BB Balm because it's my favourite, and it also has SPF 50, and as well as being slightly tinted, it also just evens out my skin tone and is genuinely like really good skincare. I feel like it gives like, I don't know, like a really long lasting moisturized feeling, and also it takes just about evens out my skin and takes out any slight redness that I have in my face. And this is kind of what I use just for my everyday when I'm going to college and stuff, and it's more like an Asian BB cream. You do look a bit ghostly when you first put it on, but by the time you leave the house it usually settles in quite well and kind of goes to more of a skin colour, and I don't mind being a little bit paler on the face anyway. So now that that is done, and I also put eye cream on before I started this tutorial. So my foundation of choice is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light Stay in Place Makeup in the shade Intensity 2, and I usually wear this when I'm tanned or when I'm going out because it is a tiny bit darker than my face, but it matches my rest of my body quite well because I'm actually quite tanned on the rest of my body naturally. So I like this one. I used to be a double wear girl, like if I was like going out, but I find that this one has just the coverage that I want and doesn't feel as heavy on the skin, and I wear this to work and stuff. So if you want your makeup to last like a really long time, I definitely recommend this one. It doesn't come in that many shades, but if you can find your shade, then it's a really nice foundation. I'm going to grab my Real Techniques buffing brush. This was from one of their like little core sets that they do, and I've dampened it on a wet wipe just because when I'm working with liquid or cream products I find it just helps a lot. So I'm just going to buff that right into the skin, and it does give me a little bit of coverage under the eyes, so I am bringing it under there a little bit as well, not too much but just a little bit, because as you guys know my under eye bags are the bane of my life. Before we get into the eyes, I'm just going to pop a little bit of concealer on the inner corners just because when I put my shadow on it's going to be a little bit hard to get into those kind of tight corners. So I'm just going to buff those in now. I'm just using a MAC, oh god I don't even know, this one is MAC 224 brush to just buff it in around the dark areas on the inner eye, because I think the inner eye is definitely a telltale sign and you should never sort of ignore it. It can make you look really tired and it can bring your eyes in really close as well. So I'm just popping a bit of concealer in there, and I'll put more on once I've done my eyeshadow. The Tom Ford cream contour, or what's it called, shade in Illuminate, works a little bit better when the skin's still a little bit tacky, so, or dewy or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just with a warm finger going to draw that exactly where I want it. Just following the natural jaw kind of cheekbone hollow. I'm going to put a little bit on my temples. I'm quite used to doing this, so that's why I'm sort of just slapping it on. Just holding back your hair and taking a buffing brush or whatever kind of brush you like. Just kind of buff in and upward and do the duck face if it helps. And I'm just going to put a light layer on the cheekbones first, and then I'm going to maybe go back and add a little bit later at the end of the look, depending on what I feel like. It is quite scary when you put it on first, but it does blend into like nothing. Definitely one of my favourite contour products ever. I'm also going to take a little bit of that, whatever's on the left on the brush from the contour product, down the sides of my nose, kind of on the tip, and also sort of along the jawline. I don't like to draw it on because I think it will come out too harsh, but this will just kind of define your whole bone structure a little bit more and it'll come out really nicely in photographs. Now my base is done. I'm going to put some base on my eyelids for my eyeshadow, and this is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I'm just going to take a tiny amount of that and spread it all over the lid. I'm using NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk now. Nobody's heard of that one for a while, but yeah, I sort of rediscovered this and I do like to use it as kind of a brightening highlight underneath my eyebrows. I go for a nice strong kind of defined brow and a nice strong highlight because you can just blend it out till it's quite subtle and then it will hold a nice shimmery shadow well. And I'm putting it on before filling in my brows because I don't want all that white stuff to go on top of my brows after I fill them in. As a highlight, I'm going to use this Inglot shade and I think it's called Pearl. I've had it for a really long time and it's just basically like a shimmery champagne pearl colour. I'm going to pop that right under my brows. I'm going to pop some colour in my brows and I've lost my brow colour, so I'm going to be using my go-to backup, which is the Storm palette by Sleek. They're matte brown and black sort of mixed together, just because I like to go a little bit lighter than my jet black eyebrows. So just going to define those with a nice thin angled brush. And I never make my brows like too defined. I mean, I don't like them to go into like a pencil sharp sort of finish. I sort of like to get gradually lighter with the shadow as I come into the inside of my brow, because you don't want that to look like too overly filled in. Especially at the front, I like to leave it sort of a little bit more sparse looking so that it fades into a strong brow, and I just think it's a really nice flattering way to like not overdo the Scouse brow look. When you're happy with it, I always just like to run a brush through the front just to soften it out and make sure everything is nice and polished. Usually I don't put a lot of darkness on the lid of my eye, but I think I'm going to go for a really sultry, dark, smoky look, which I think will suit a lot of people. But I'm going to start with a nice warm transition colour like I usually do, and it's not too warm. It's charcoal brown in this matte shade by MAC, and it's a little bit cooler than what I would usually put on my crease. But I'm just going to pop some of that in the kind of socket crease and just above on the same MAC 224 that I was using earlier, and you can bring that all the way around just outside that socket line and into the crease. Because this is not just any night, it's, you know, going out night, special night, prom night, whatever. We want to make our sort of elongated eyeshadow like very sort of clean, I guess. So you could use frosted tape, whatever. I'm out of frosted tape, so I'm going to use these little sticky tabs that you can get for dividers in your folder or whatever. But they're just a nice amount of sticky and they're nice and clean and sharp. So we're going to stick those. This is another reason why I wanted to do the concealer last, because obviously this is sticking to sort of the highlighted concealer area, and we can just top that up with concealer later if it's moved our foundation. But yeah, I'm just going to pick up this shadow. It is from MAC, it's called Silver Ring, and I haven't used it in a really long time. And we're going to use the same fluffy blending brush because I just want to pop a little bit. I just want the sort of metallic sheen to show up a little bit on the eye, and we might pop a little bit more on later. Because we have our tape, we can sort of take this out a little bit and into the crease again, right into the socket line. It's a nice big fluffy brush, so it doesn't take too much precision, and I'm just going to extend the shadow actually out quite a bit. Kind of follow your eyebrow angle, if that is any help, the arch angle. We are going to be using the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Dark Brown 602. I've never used this before, and I really wanted to use it in this tutorial somehow. It's just a creamy kind of crayon stick, and it is, everyone goes for like black being the black one, but I actually picked up the dark brown because it's sort of a little bit more wearable. I think black can be a little bit harsh on the eyes. Might add a little bit of black eyeshadow into the look later, but I just thought that this for an all over the lid, kind of almost black shade would be really nice to work with, and a little bit more subtle than something like Black Bean all over the lid. So I am just going to draw this right over the lid, and it is going to be messy to start with, but you just need to get the product on there first. And I'm going to go quite in, right in next to the lash line, and just all over the full lid. Flat, kind of fluffy brush. You can take any brush that you want. I'm just going to be using this to roughly blend out, and then I'm going to go back with my 224 to blend it out a bit more. Just going to get rid of that harsh edge with a clean brush. Sort of take the colour right into the inner corner. And these are really easy to blend out, and they just provide the perfect base for any dark or light eyeshadow depending on, you know, what shade you go for. Okay, so back with the 224, we're going to blend out that edge. I'm going to take that matte brown that I had in the Storm palette. I really need to get a new, I lost a few of my like go-to MAC eyeshadows and I'm really annoyed about it, so I need to go in and repurchase some staples, like a nice dark matte brown. But I'm just going to pop that all over where I had, and then again back in with a 224 to blend everything out. Take that, whatever's on the brush, a little bit above the crease as well if you want to darken up the look, and just gradually blend back into that sort of extended elongated grey that we put there earlier. On a little sort of pencil type brush, something a little bit more precise than a fluffy brush, I'm going to take a matte black, just use whatever one you have, and I'm going to pop that right in the outer crease. Extra bit of dimension and really smoke out the outer portion of the eye. And you can take it up as far as you like. I probably wouldn't go up too far, but just that outer V right here is where you want to be applying that. So now I'm going to take off this bottom bit, and as you can see we have a really clean edge, which is really going to help our lashes give us that elongated look. So I'm going to take that matte brown again and run it into my lashes. I'm not bringing mine down too far, but if you have like smaller eyes you can make this line a little bit thicker. But I'm just going to run it on the outer third, and also blending it into that sharp line that we made. I'm going to take a little bit of my Clinique gel or cream liner on a Sigma EO5 pointed liner brush, a very thin line of that along my lashes and extending, kind of following that kind of line that we made, just so that it hides the band of my lashes in photographs and stuff. And if you want a more in-depth on how I wear my eyeliner, I did a whole eyeliner video showing you guys how to achieve my 3 kind of go-to black gel liner looks that I do a lot in tutorials and stuff, so I will leave that linked below for you guys if you want to see a little bit more up close how I do my liner. Like I said, I'm going to follow this up just a little bit. I'm popping on my lashes with a tweezers, and again if you want to see how I put on those lashes you can watch the third look in the eyeliner video. And I'm just popping these as close to my lashes as humanly possible. So as you can see, that's really darkened up the look. Really dramatic sort of red carpet smoky eye, which I absolutely love. I don't know why I don't wear these looks more often. Girl, I was not playing when I said this was going to be dramatic. So I can go ahead and go straight in with my concealer. This is one of my favourites, it actually is my favourite at the moment. It's the NYX HD Photogenic Concealer, and it is probably the best concealer that I've used so far. I use this shade CW06, which is a nice neutral shade. It's nice and brightening and it doesn't oxidize, and also it stays quite moisturized under my eyes, which I really like because I have dry skin, so it just kind of sets to a normal finish. I'm going to pop some around my nose Anywhere I have some shadows, I like to kind of pop some there where I get my dimples. Around my lips a little bit, and let's pop a little bit in between the eyebrows as well. Going to buff that in real quick. And for my under eyes, I like to use my fingers, so my fingers nice and warm. And making sure not to kind of touch our eyeshadow that we popped underneath the lashes. Just to close my eye up a little bit on the outside, I'm going to pop a little bit of Avon's Super Shock Gel eyeliner in pencil form, and I don't like to line my eyes the whole way in, so I'm going to do it halfway. And I like to kind of run it into my lashes a little bit as well and really work it in so I get a nice smoky effect. And you can just take your pencil brush again and sort of work the liner into the lashes and into that little bit of eyeshadow that we placed earlier. Just for a change, I'm going to warm up my face with a little bit of pink blush. This is Peach by NYX, and it's definitely not peach, but it is a nice sort of pink, which I don't usually go for, but I think pink is nice for a sort of a night out look, and it goes really well with smoky eye if you're sort of sick of peach and stuff. And I'm going for a slightly light wash of pink lip colour as well, so that is why I'm going for this. I've kind of a wide face and blush just suits me a little bit outside the apple, sort of blending into my contour. On the tops of my cheeks, I'm going to add a little bit of the Tom Ford Shine and Illuminate highlighter, again just with my finger. Pat a little bit of that on because it gives this gorgeous heavenly glow that I just absolutely love. And it's sort of dewy, but I find that if you use a matte foundation underneath, it'll sort of set after a few minutes. So I'm sort of putting that, kind of going to match that little bit of highlight we put under the brow, just going a little sort of C shape around there. Don't take it onto the cheeks too much. Pop a little bit down the nose if you'd like to. I like to put a little bit on the top of my lips, but I'm going to use an additional highlight for that. So I'm going to brush my brows through with some brow gel, because if you have unruly brows like myself, you don't want those moving around, and for pictures and stuff you want your eyebrows to be really, really polished, and I find that a little bit of gel just makes them a small bit darker and a little bit more perfected looking. Onto the lips, I'm using Benefit's Cupid's Bow on my Cupid's bow. To line my lips, I'm using No. 7's Precision Lip Pencil in the shade Nude. It's one of my favourite everyday lip liners because we're going for quite a nude lip. Nothing too dramatic because the lip colour we're using is going to give us a little bit of an extra plump anyway because it's slightly more glossy. Onto the actual lip colour, it's a Rouge Coco Shine No. 54 by Chanel, and it is just boy, and it's one of the ones I always recommend to people at work if they're getting it for like a gift or something like that, for somebody that likes a moisturising lip colour. And if you're kissing any boys, you want your lips to be nice and smooth. So this is a lovely one. It just has an ever so slight bit of gloss and shimmer to it, which I think just looks beautiful on everybody I've ever tried it on in any makeover. And as well, just slightly go over the outline of your lips, and it'll just give your, like, not overfill them with the lipstick, but just about over the little ridge of your lips, and it'll just make them that little bit plumper. Is my finished look, I guess. I don't think there's anything I'm forgetting, but yeah, you could just, I should have really done a hair tutorial with this as well. This is just second day curls if anyone's wondering. Definitely not nice enough for a Debs, but I'm trying to fierce it up for you guys so you guys can get a better idea of kind of the whole look coming together. That is the tutorial, guys. I know it's a bit kind of overly dramatic and it's not going to be to everyone's taste, but I've done a load of subtle makeup tutorials in the past. I will link some down below for you guys, and if you want something that's still a bit more dramatic but a bit more on the bronze sort of colour scheme, you can check out my Get Ready With Me on my 21st. I thought that was a really, really nice look for being super dressed up but a bit more warm on the eyes if you want to go for something a bit more golden and a bit more bronze. But if you just want something that's going to go go with everything that's quite dramatic. I absolutely love this look for this, and I hope you guys like it too. I will also put a few pictures on my blog along with this video so you can see a bit more of a true representation of what the makeup looks like, because daylight and stuff tends to wash out things like blush, so you probably can't see like my blush as much and stuff. So if those are up, I will link those down below as well. I do hope you enjoyed the look, guys. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and yeah, I will see you in my next one. Peace.